Ich glaube, wenn bei die nächste Wahl die AfD nicht gewinnt oder nicht gewählt wordt, weil die Deutschen immer noch zu blöd zijn om die richtige Leute zu wählen, dann müssen die Leute in Deutschland sich vorbereiten auf einen Widerstand. Und das muss nicht unbedingt mit Gewalt sein. Na, es gibt noch einen Schritt davor, vor das Gewalt. Gell? Und ich weiß, keiner will Gewalt nutzen, om het Land wieder terugzuholen van deze Kriminellen die gerade regieren. Und es muss auch nicht sein. Wir haben zwei Wahlen. First choice is vote for the AfD and give them the chance to turn this Titanic running into the iceberg around. All right? I think they'll probably be able to do it because they got people with balls. Let's hope. But first they have to be voted in. And they have to win the election because, as we know, the EU is not our friend, right? The EU is going to try to do whatever they can, the bureaucrats and the establishment, along with the establishment parties here in Germany, they're going to do whatever they can to stop the AfD from getting into power, like they did in Romania, like they did in Moldova, like they've done everywhere else, right? They're going to try to interfere. They're going to say it's Russian misinformation, or the guy had AfD had Russian help. They're already doing it now by constantly accusing the AfD of being Russian assets. That's the same thing they try to do to Donald Trump. Look at the pattern around the world that these establishment cronies always use the same playbook against everybody else. No matter if it's America, it's every Western country where the left has had power or in institutions of power. They do the same playbook. So it's obvious to see through it. They're going to say, oh, the AfD has always been close to Russia. And Russia, like they did in America with Donald Trump, like they've done everywhere else that any populist party or person ever got through, Russia helped them get there. Well, if they were helping, then I'm glad, then let them help, right? But that's not the case. They're lying. And they're going to try anything they can to make sure the AfD does not get into power, even if we vote for them. So if one of those two scenarios happen, either the AfD doesn't get voted for enough because German people still think Friedrich Merz and the CDU are the solution to all the problems that they created, right? Or we all do vote for them, but the European Union, our great leaders, Ursula von der Leyen, the queen of the EU, they're going to do something to foil that election. If either of those scenarios happen, the Germans are going to have to start thinking about revolting, right? Because otherwise, you're going to get subjugated, just like in the Nazi times, right? But this time it's going to be all of us, not just Jews. It's going to be everybody. Because these people will they feel like they can rule over us. As a matter of fact, they're our servants. They work for us. We pay their salaries and all that. You know what I mean? But they have the completely 180 view. They're like, no. We rule you. You do what we say. We make the laws, the rules, and we make the decisions. And you people just shut the fuck up until we need your vote. That's what they are. The only way to get this power back is going to be to get them out of power or to make them go. There's two ways, right? Two ways to make them go or get out of power. Or there's one way to get them out of power and one way to make them go. So there's two ways to go about it. Sorry. So my preferred way would be the Germans need to start thinking about what to do, what will really get their attention. Well, let me give you an example, right? What if, let's say 20%, right, of the trucking companies in Germany, like the one I work for, right, got together and said, okay, we're all gonna go for it together, right? 20% is probably 1 million trucks or something like that. And I would say at least, right? Let's say 50%. Let's just say a large percentage. What would happen if the trucking companies got together? For example, now any business can do this. It doesn't have to be trucking companies. But if the trucking companies got together, all the bosses, right, and said, all right, look, we're going to just stop driving. We're going to stop driving until these motherfuckers walk out of power. Out. What are they going to do? If nothing gets delivered anymore, how many days, or maybe even weeks, which I don't even think it's going to take weeks, how many days do you think that the elite establishment politicians are going to last before they say, okay, we're going. We're going. You know how much pressure they're going to get from not only their family members, but everybody, because food is getting scarce. You know, we can say we'll still deliver all the food so that the people don't get hurt, right? So nobody's starving. So everything except food just stops right there. What if 80% of the trucking companies did it? What if 50% of the trucking companies and 30% of all the other business types in Germany did it? No more restaurants, no more service, no more Ubers, no more taxis, no more no more fucking bus rides or taxi rides or tram rides. Everything just stops. And we, the majority, just say, you know what? We've had enough of this. We are not your slaves. We are not your bitches. We're not going to continue to do your bidding for you. We're not going to continue to allow you to take our money and constantly give it to Ukraine or Israel or some other fucking country we got nothing to do with. We demand that you do your job and you've had your chance. So you're out and we're going to put the AFD in and you're just going to get out. You're just going to get out. And if the longer you politicians stay there, the longer it's going to take for us to just go, okay, well, we're just going to sit there. We're going to sit there. We're not going to do anything. They will break. Now, sure, some of us might get fired. Some of us might get, they might find some sort of, how can they make us work? You know what I'm saying? If we just say no, and we've got the backing of the bosses of our companies and shit, and they go along with it, you know how easy this will be? No blood shed. And we will get these politicians that are up there out of office just like that within no time. Because actually, we're dumb that we keep running for them and keep paying them so that they can sit there and give our money to Ukraine, Zelensky to put it up his nose or whatever the fuck else. That's insane to me. So we got one more chance to do this democratically here in Germany, right? A lot of European countries are in the same boat as we are. We got one more chance to do it democratically without having to put pressure and without violence. There's one more chance, and that's the AFD, the next election. If that doesn't work for whatever reason, Germans are going to have to make the choice. Do I get subjugated and continue to do the bidding and be the tool of these autocratic elites that think that they're bettering the country? Or do I fight back? Is it going to take a little bit of balls for all the people to get together and say, okay, we're just not going to go to work anymore until they're out? Yeah, sure. Is it risky? Sure. It's a little risky. You know, maybe you'll get less salary because the bosses can't pay enough. You know, maybe they'll try to wait us out. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, but these people have to eat. They got to get paid. You know what I'm saying? If you got good bosses, the boss will pay you through it. You know what I mean? But it's going to be something like that that's going to have to happen. And if you're not even willing to do that, what's going to happen when there's no other chance except to fight? To actually literally fight for your freedom. And what your freedom of speech, freedom to live, you know what I'm saying? Freedom to be able to just pay for regular things. Instead of watching these politicians make your money worthless and pitch your money with big shovels out of the country to other places that we've got not shit to do with, and other places that never done a fucking thing for us. Ukraine has never done one fucking thing for Germany, for Europe, for any of these places. Not one fucking thing. And yet we have to pay tax for them. And we don't even get a choice. You know what I'm saying? We have to make, bike paths in Peru and all that crazy shit. We don't even have a choice. And if we want a choice, we're going to have to take it. Because they're not going to give it to us. Right? So those are the two ways. It's either going to be a violent revolution, or I guess there's three ways, right? It's either going to be violent revolution, be subjugated like a peon for the rest of your life by criminal elites who think that they're doing the world a service by their actions, or a Widerstand, a revolution without bloodshed, which is everybody just says, we agree on this day, we are going to stop working. No more trucks, no more driving, no more just the grocery stores. And that's it. And we'd get them out in 5 seconds. They'd be gone. But those are the scenarios that Germany is going to have to think about as we move towards the next election in this country, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. Start thinking about that kind of stuff, people. Start organizing it around you. because something's going to have to be done.